emotional intelligence for the modern leader. What is emotional intelligence? And emotional intelligence forms the juncture at which cognition, the way you think, and emotion meet. It facilitates our capacity for resilience, motivation, empathy, reasoning, stress management, communication, and our ability to read and navigate a plethora of social situations and conflicts. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have always heard the saying, you have to learn how to read the room. That's one particular instance of being able to utilize your emotional intelligence. It's not something that we all have. It's not the act of suppressing your feelings. It's not just all the soft and mushy stuff, which was said by this individual. I think it was an HR manager. It's a skill you can learn. It's how to perceive and manage others' emotions, and not to actually suppress them. Why is EI development important? Emotional intelligence is widely celebrated as a valuable commodity because it can predict life outcomes that we care about, such as academic performance, psychological adjustment, and workplace success. And that's pretty much what a lot of employers are looking for, right? Because if you're able to utilize emotional intelligence in the sense of workplace success, and I have you leading, then you're also able to predict ways in which the team might not be successful to reach that goal because of that emotional intelligence and being able to tap into your team. And so a lot of employers, especially when I was meeting with some last year, for you guys that are in the STEM fields, as far as if you wanted to do research, and it was actually CODA that made a point that, hey, we get a lot of students that love being scientists, but we also need, after 5 to 10 years, for them to move up into management and leadership positions. And so they see the value and the profit that they can gain from that. And so they actually asked if we do have, or if we will create forms of managed leadership training that coincides with you guys' curriculum. Becoming an emotional intelligent leader. The beautiful part about EQ, we have the power when it comes to emotional intelligence. That is the most important part of understanding how to use it to our advantage. We can all increase and improve our emotional intelligence. What we will be covering for emotional intelligence leadership development: goal setting, making time for personal development, reflection for getting to know yourself, which is so important, because there's nothing worse than working with somebody that either comes at you with the wrong information, or would like to rewrite history so that they're right, or just wants to always win. That it just makes no sense, because in my mind, that means that you're not able to base things out of reality and what actually is. And so I know that we talked a lot about that in the Empowerment Book Club with Atomic Habits, and then the other one about anxiety. We did a lot of that when it came to self-awareness, because if you can't tap into where you are in your self-awareness, you can't grow. And so as you guys progress in life, you're going to start noticing in your 30s and in your 40s that people that you knew from some time ago, or people that you still know, that you still keep around for one reason or another, that they're just not growing, and they're not developing, and they're not maturing, and that you no longer are on the same, not only trajectory, but you're no longer equally yoked. I'll put it that way. One thing I was going to ask you about, Azure, with the goal setting, you remember the last time we were talking about the system and then the actual goal. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I asked you, what is it that you have to break through to get to the actual goal? And that's what you said last time.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, I was driving on my way to the gym one day, and it hit me. It's called the plateau of latent potential. So whenever you have the goal here, which you're not even supposed to focus on, your system, which is actually your inputs to actually get to the goal, you have to break through the plateau of latent potential. So That's an excellent way of looking at things, so that you definitely stay focused. Um, and then the last one, I think I missed reflection for getting to know yourself better. And that's also, well, I already said that as well. So of course, the first steps, three questions essential to increasing emotional intelligence. Are you willing to do the hard work of getting to know yourself more deeply than you ever have? And the example that I can give you is definitely with therapy, is that you end up having a lot of people that go to therapists either because it looks good, or in your mind you could say, still, I'm going here, but it's really everybody else is the problem and not myself. And so that all comes from the hard work that comes with therapy, right? So when you are in therapy, you need to make sure that your self awareness is there, your self reflection, which you are bouncing off of the wall to the actual provider, so that you can then put yourself in situations to where you can practice these coping and these coping mechanisms, so that you actually can grow and see. So this is kind of sort of the same thing. You know, you have to be willing to do the hard work of getting to know yourself more deeply than you ever have. And the only way to do that is to have different experiences. Are you prepared to ask yourself the tough questions, and then with clear eyes, are you going to go after what you really want, even if it feels uncomfortable? And so, one thing I do remember, I think her name is Janice Jennings. She's a famous trainer. I know she's trained Queen Latifah, Kelly Rowland, but she said something like 10 or 12 years ago that I read. And she was basically saying that, you know, fitness is all about learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so that's the same thing when we think about if we're moving in the right direction as far as growth. I remember Taraji Henson said the other day how she won't take on an acting role unless she's fearful of it, because she knows that she's going to grow after it's all said and done. So never be afraid of that. Importance of self awareness. It all begins with self awareness, with knowing who you really are. This self awareness means having clarity around your values, passion, purpose, mission, and goals. Once clear, you build the self confidence and motivation to grow into the vision of yourself that you've actually imagined. Benefits of a solid structure in place. As you begin each day, anything in red is a question for you guys and not for me. So, as you begin each day to grow into a better leader, ask yourself, what will success look like today? And so, of course, I know you guys have heard this a lot. What does success, well, how do you define success? Sanaya? Sanaya Christopher? Sanaya? Okay.
Hello, Dr. Meredith.
Uh-huh.
I
Oh,
was gonna say, I think success is like not even necessarily being rich or like, but just like achieving your goals and being at a point in life where you're comfortable and happy.
mm. So I definitely agree with you on that, because when you were saying that, the first thing I thought of was anything that equates to me feeling every day like I'm free.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would definitely equate to happiness. Elijah, what's success for you?
You hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Um, I would say being being very established and accomplished.
Okay. So success for you is more the feeling of professional and not personal.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Visualization and imagination go hand in hand to kindle the fire inside, that fuels your motivation and determination. So, here, what have you visualized, or has anyone visualized and imagined that manifested itself. I know we talked a lot about this in the book about anxiety and the 23 techniques. And we talked about, actually, we did it during the meditation workshop. So is there anyone that's actually visualized and imagined what they've manifested? And one thing I will say is a young lady that graduated in 22, Janae Young, she was a scholar. I was at the gym with her. We end up going to the same gym now. She works for the government, and we were leaving, and she was like, Dr. Meredith, it feels so good to be walking into these things that I prayed for years ago. Prayer is a form of meditation in itself. Anybody else have a visualization or anything that they've imagined that has been manifested? Nia Williams? Mia Hall? Mhm. Maritza, did you manifest going to Belize?
Good morning. I actually say that I did kind of manifest going to Belize. I more of manifested like traveling opportunities for myself this semester.
Okay. One thing I will say with manifesting, it definitely has to come from a positive place.
I
Last
manifested.
Oh.
I manifested going to Purdue.
Okay.
I've been saying I'm gonna go to Purdue. I'm gonna go to Purdue ever since I was about 10, and had the not memorabilia, but like the little flag things and the little Purdue stuff all in my room and everything. And yeah,
I could see that happening, especially since you're from Indianapolis and how close you are to Purdue. You know what I mean? As far as that exposure being there.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Lastly, mix faith with your written and spoken words to fuse them together. A lot of times I stop students when I'm working with them. Last week I was teaching in the ag and natural resources class about careers in ag and natural resources. And one young lady, she was so nervous and she said, I'm sorry, I'm not a good public speaker. And I said, not yet. And I said, moving forward, you might want to speak positive about it so that you can grow from it, because what experience should you really have about it being a freshman? I mean, yeah, it's just you've not been in enough places or spaces to actually practice. So I always stop students and even friends from different comments that can hinder those things that you could potentially manifest. It is extremely helpful to have a philosophy around what you hope to be and what you intend to accomplish. As far as developing a mission statement, this personal mission statement is a written document that establishes 3 things. Of course, I don't know. When I first started my program in educational leadership, like they put such a heavy emphasis on missions and how to create it and things of that nature. But, that mission that usually heads up different organizations, whether it's a college university, whether it's Google, whether it's Apple, no matter who, it's literally what guides it. Right. So without that mission, you really don't know what your purpose is, and it doesn't align with things like your vision and other things that people that you lead need to see. So 3 different questions. Of course, your why, organic, developed by you, free from influences or emotions. Your direction. This determines the action you must take in order to fulfill the requirements of your why. And then last, the substance of things that matter to you. And here are your core values, ideals, principles, people, and things that bring you enthusiasm and passion to your life. Anybody ever said, like, I really do like working here because, like, the people are really nice, they're cool. I think I asked, I didn't want to work there, but I noticed, like, at Trader Joe's, like, everybody's just happy, cool, grooving. And those different types of things can come from the different values, ideals, principles, and people that the company wants to employ. And it's the same thing now I think about it that I feel when I go to Wegmans. And those things shine through. It makes you definitely want to spend your money there. So this is one example of a mission statement. Here, and things that are in different colors align with those three questions that you should ask yourself. So here you want to help others and make a tangible difference in their lives through my writing, speaking, and coaching, while living each moment to the fullest and having a positive attitude, smile, and genuine enjoyment for life. I think I created that. I don't think that's from the book. But here, like I said, you have the different things that break down into actually constructing a mission statement, helping others. Here we have like keywords as far as tangible, how you want to impact people through writing, speaking, and coaching. And then also something that's more personable, that is towards me, as far as those values and principles, positive attitude, smile, and genuine enjoyment for life. Here, of course, we want to be accountable for growth's sake. Hold yourself accountable by developing 30-minute checks during a quiet part of your day to focus and review your mission statement. Of course, you guys are extremely busy. And that can be hard to do, but I really think I've never been really big on journaling because I just always felt like it would take too much time. But the older and older I get, I think the more and more it's important. And I say that because when you are journaling and time goes by, and sometimes you lose yourself, right? So right now, y'all are college students. But when you get ready to get married to another individual, you can start to lose yourself or your identity. When you have kids, and that's most paramount, you can start to lose yourself. But if you have a record of your journaling, especially when you were the most happiest, or what made you the most happiest, or what you know that you were doing to stay the most fit, and you can reflect on that, it can totally empower you to want to actually take back your life. So journaling isn't always a bad thing. You want to review your goals. Are you achieving them? If not, what you could do differently. And then always remember, it's not always about adding in new things. Sometimes it's equally as important to remove tasks and activities that aren't adding value. And of course, we will definitely talk more about that during the time management for college students, which I think is like next week. Yeah, today's the 30th. I think it's on the 6th. So first steps as far as this exercise for the mission statement. Here's how you set up your how to set up yours. Of course, like I said, your why, your direction. What steps do you need to take to get where you really want to be? That's back to that whole your inputs and variables in your system that's going to help you get to your goal. And of course, write these out. These become success measures that will hold you accountable as well as keep you inspired. List everything in your life that matters to you and go deeper. This is what happens when, okay. List everything in your life that matters to you and go deeper. Why do these things matter to you? How do they resonate with you? How do they teach you in a meaningful way and make you think? I have to have these in my life. And of course, these things are also going to help you with that whole piece on self-awareness. So with clarity on all three elements, you can write out your succinct personal mission statement if you like. And then it says use mine from the chapter, or you can use mine from the previous slide. Of course, also first steps exercise. When you are going to build your emotional intelligence game plan, number one, what do you want? Everything begins with this fundamental question. Number two, list your values as far as their examples: faith, honesty, integrity, perseverance, and humility. List your passions. These motivating factors will light the fire inside you. Don't focus only on work items. You can include personal items as well. And then last, your purpose. Well, number four, your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Number five, your actual mission. How will you define success? and then your goals, those specific variables and inputs that are measurable outcomes for trying to achieve. Has anybody ever heard of SMART goals?
Yes.
And what does SMART stand for?
I don't really remember.
Me either.
I think S is specific, M is
M,
measurable,
measurable,
A is
attainable,
R is reasonable,
realistic,
and T is
time.
time.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think it's time. Yep. So we have. I ended up forgetting the S. But if you're going through and utilizing that SMART goal, there's nothing worse than being under pressure and then saying you have this crazy goal that you either don't have time to attain, it's not attainable, because then you can end up having yourself stay in a certain place to where you're crippled by even attempting. So definitely look into SMART goals and see how you can actually apply them to what's going on in your life. And that's also going to be definitely something else that we'll revert to in time management, because if your goals with school or just one class is not in alignment with actually a SMART goal, meaning something is thrown off, like I want an A in calculus, but I'm going to give myself a month of time, which would be at the end of the semester, to actually get that A. Now, so you see how it has to definitely be in alignment with reality, or definitely to be realistic. Here, as far as your 5-year plan, what would you most like to accomplish professionally in the next 5 years? I want to ask somebody that. Matthew, Gail, what is it that you want to attain within the next 5 years?
Well, I don't even know. That's a great question. So, well, obviously, I want to obtain my degree, and well, let's see, that's what, in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next, I don't even know about the next 3. I'm just like, I don't know, maybe.
Well, my thing is that one, it's
Know.
okay.
Something research, maybe I want to.
Okay. What I was going to say. What I was going to say is, number one, it's okay. Like you're in college, so I'm pretty sure your day-to-day focus is your studies. I'm curious to know, DeRaymar, what's your 5-year plan?
I would say the same as him, and hopefully.
What was it?
You said what?
Yeah, you can repeat it.
Getting a degree and then hopefully finding a job and being set.
Okay. Sierra Kane, I know all yours, but the reason why I'm kind of going on and on about this 5-year plan is because you will end up seeing in your interviews when you get ready to, whether it's an interview for an internship, and I hate this question because anything can happen in 5 years, or with employment, they always will revert to sometimes asking, what's your 5-year plan? Or 5-year trajectory. And a lot of reasons why I would say I've gotten it at least 70% of the time. And it makes sense that an employer would ask you that, right? Because if I do not fit into your plan in the next 5 years as your employer or future employer, why would I now take out the time to employ you? So please make sure that in instances that you do get this question, and you will get this question, that you are given an informed answer. Okay, so you would definitely want to use these questions to help guide you. What professional development courses would you like to take? What conferences would you like to attend? Or what certifications would you like to obtain? Right now is the best time of your lives in the sense of getting free professional development. Why? Because faculty love to mentor undergraduates. And guess who actually has the money to send you to these conferences at no cost to you? Faculty. So, and also these conferences are important because you get to learn how to effectively network with your peers from all across the country. And it really is an excellent way to network, because if you can't talk about anything else, you guys can talk about your passion for the field of study that you're in. So these professional development courses or series that Urilla is offering. I know that they have a conference coming up. That's serious. Things that we talk about in the engagements through these professional series are serious. And so, yeah, just make sure that you're taking on these opportunities, because once you are out there in the field, sometimes it can be harder because you're already trying to sustain employment, let alone take on these other components. And it might cost you. I know certifications definitely cost you. In 100 words, describe the job you like to have that meshes with your talents, knowledge, skills, experiences, and passions. I always defer students to the Myers-Briggs test assessment that does exactly what this second question is asking. It will actually tell you what your strengths, weaknesses are, and it will actually pair it with with your personality, and then also pair it with, I think, the top 5 or 10 different jobs that you should be in. So that's important. List all your business skills, then list your transferable skills to see how they translate to another industry or business venture. And here, of course, they're talking, they already said it, transferable skills. And so a lot of times people, when I'm working with them on their resume writing, dealing with their resume writing or cover letters, they don't see the various transferable skills that can even be taken into a whole nother industry. Right. So those things definitely matter, and being able to identify them, because you could be shortchanging yourself. Transforming, start building relationships with yourself professionally and personally. In order to give value to others in your organization, you must first introspectively look within and be firm in your values, strategies, and goals. The transforming leader masters the fundamentals of self-awareness, and then builds relationships with people both inside and outside their organization. I'll give you guys a prime example, and this is why I make sure that I get along with everybody. Because you might know personally that you wouldn't get along with somebody, but that doesn't mean that they can't still offer you something. I'm gonna say it again. You might not personally get along with somebody, but that doesn't mean that they can't offer you something in your network. And I'll give you an example. So you guys all know I can't stand I can't stand to do not to do, but to coordinate and schedule the alumni takes. I just don't, because, and it's not even anybody's fault. I understand that alum are working professionals, and it just always seems like things fall through at the last minute. And so this semester, of course, it fell through. People all of a sudden are traveling to the Dominican. Some people are now going to site visits. And so I'm sitting back like, okay, so what do I do? So I was just working out, and I said to myself, I know everybody on campus. I get along with everybody on campus, and they would stop doing what they would do in a heartbeat for me. And I said, why don't I just bring in professionals that are employees at Dell State to talk about the exact same topic, right? So they're going to talk about how to navigate unmanageable spaces. And so I immediately just put them on a group text. I explained what I wanted to do, why I wanted to do it, how it's going to benefit the DSU students. It will be a panel discussion. Theory and practice will guide our conversations. And then all of a sudden, like they all said yes. All 4 of them said yes within a matter of 30 minutes. And so that is a testament to being able to utilize emotional intelligence in such a long time period of building a network that you can have people come through at the drop of a dime. And so that's why I'm always stressing the scholars about about your network and how you treat people and things that you do say. And it definitely will be something that you'll need, especially if you're going to graduate school. So also here, you must build relational capital through empathy and authentic desire to elevate others. The last thing I do want to say, because I'm seeing it in Yeah, and Dell State students currently, I don't like to do generations against generations, Azure, but what I'm definitely seeing in this last cohort of 2019 to where we're at presently is that there's always a feeling of either a shortcut or a short change, meaning, I'm trying to have my come up on this, but thank you for my come up, but moving forward, I might need you again, but you shouldn't remember that you had the short end of the stick. So people recognize it and notice it, especially when you're working with older individuals. And like I've said before, you end up being categorized or labeled, and it could be something as not a team player, selfish. It can be a lot of those different things. And so something that I definitely learned the first 12 years of working underneath Dr. Barczewski is that if you got to scratch somebody else's back so that they can scratch yours. That is timeless, classic, and is never, ever, ever going to go away. And if you can't learn to do that, you're going to have a very hard time in relationships, personal as well as professional. Authentic business relationships are built on curiosity, candor, and willingness to help. Relationships are the turbochargers or turbocharger that leads to new opportunities, success, and achievement of our long-term goals. Something else that I wanted to say, when I say scratch my back, you scratch yours, I'm not saying to the point that you get taken advantage of, right? I'm not saying to put yourself out there to routinely be taken advantage of. I'm talking about mutually beneficial, mutually beneficial relationships. And then transforming. Forging relationships helps increase our mental inventory of knowledge. We gather knowledge on organizational politics, leaderships, and history. I'm sorry to stop again, but this is something else that I've been meaning to say for 4 years. Just because you give an excuse, one, doesn't mean that what you need out of that situation, that you should still get it, right? And then two, just because you give an excuse doesn't mean that an individual can't tell that you're lying. So I'm going to say it again. Just because you give an excuse doesn't mean that, hey, I should get a pass. It doesn't. And then also giving an excuse does not mean that you're not actually coding an excuse over a lie, especially if you're talking to older adults. You know what I mean? So I've seen that a lot. I don't know why. I don't know what teachers and principals just let stuff slide or just and honestly, the reason why I don't like it as well as my peers is because you're insulting our intelligence, right? So basically you would just be saying, hey, you're dumb, believe this. So I would really, and I'm not pointing out fingers at anybody, this is a general thing that I'm putting out here, because if you can't master that, how do you master emotional intelligence, right? Because that's then saying that you don't have self-awareness. That means that you can't do self-reflection and you can't change because you're not living in reality. So I think that definitely needs to be said. Transformational leaders are astutely aware of the needs of their employees and are wise to modify their leadership styles depending on the situation and situational leadership. And so situational leadership is essentially being able to assess any situation and then change up your leadership style to actually to solve the actual problem in a way that you are effectively using emotional intelligence. And so this type of leadership teaches you how to lead depending on the readiness level of your employees. And of course here, facts. The top predictor of workplace satisfaction is not pay. It is the culture and values of an organization, followed by the quality of senior leadership and then career opportunities. And more about transformational leadership traits. A transformative leader is also a change catalyst with the ability to foresee change and adjust before it happens. That's what they were talking about with EI. A transformative leader is also a change catalyst with the ability to foresee. Oh, wow. Okay. Duplicate. A transformative leader seeks feedback. A transformative leader focuses on the most important things and then delegates the pebbles. A transformative leader, a never content or complacent. A transformative leader sets feedback. A transformative leader aims to improve both strengths and weaknesses. And a transformative leader is mindful, self-aware, and motivated to make each day their masterpiece. And so, how does adversity propel a leader forward? Niaja?
Can you repeat yourself?
Uh-huh. How does adversity propel a leader forward?
What does adversity mean?
Oh, just like trouble, a crisis. So, one thing that I don't want to use that example. No, I don't. It was about to be about Dell State, and I was like, no. Say that there's a crisis and I am the director of admissions, and there's been a glitch in our database. And now all of the students that were supposed to come in the fall, I have no active information about them. So that's a crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how could that propel a leader forward?
I guess whoever is the leader in question would find solutions to the problems. I don't necessarily know what the solutions would be, but they would work towards them.
Mm-hmm.
Considering if there's like nobody else doing it, they would take the initiative too.
Exactly. And that's pretty much what I was looking for. You have somebody that's willing to step up in the situation, try to find innovative solutions to a problem. And so we could even say that they did solve that problem. The best part about all of this, especially with what we keep on talking about with self-awareness and being able to look back at the problem, we're able to find adequate solutions that you can now sit at a table for another interview and then literally talk about the whole task. And so, yeah. And so the other thing that I noticed, I embody pretty much everything on here. The only thing that is missing that I think is extremely important if you are going to lead as a transformational leader is giving feedback, being feedback as well as justification. So you guys notice anytime you come to me with a problem, whether I solve it, can't solve it, you always get justification, which then I hope makes you feel like not only am I in the game with trying to solve the issue that you're going through, but also it gives you education moving forward if you ever do have that problem again, that you have more of a knowledge base for it. So transforming exercises, I think this is almost over with. What is the cost? Okay, so here we also have the 5 questions to ask yourself as you evolve into an emotionally intelligent leader. What is the cost to me of staying in the same spot and not changing? And so when we think about that, if any of you guys, I know some of you guys are from the College of Business as well, and my favorite subject was always economics. But it's actually called opportunity cost, right? So they're asking you in question number 1, if I stay in the same spot, what is my opportunity cost for not changing, right? So if I stay in the same spot in this entry level position and I'm comfortable there, I don't want to do any professional development and I don't want to move up, not changing will then cost me money, right? So that's the opportunity cost. And you can still make that choice. What behaviors have not worked for me in the past? What did I learn from them? What do I see as my biggest leadership need? What leader can I learn about and emulate to continue my progression into becoming the leader that I want to be? I've always done that as far as identifying leaders that empower me to want to do more as well. I have a question well, actually, I'll just open it up and ask, are there any leaders that you guys have that you try to emulate or embody or definitely try to keep your eye on to learn? Amari West, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
Sure. My question was, Do you have anybody that are leaders that you try to emulate, that you try to learn from or embody?
Personally, no, I do not.
Okay. None. No females, no female vets, nothing. Kayla, Imrani Alawi, what about you?
I will say like the leaders that I have in my life that I look forward, like I look up to, like far as like leadership and etc. is definitely my grandfather and then my doctor that I work for at my exotic vet. My grandfather being because he was like the VP of his company before he left, but he worked for construction and housing. So I kind of look up to him because he has a lot of wisdom as far as like leadership and leading more than just a small group of people. And then, as far as like for my doctor, he's like more in my field and he's done a lot in his life. So it's like learning from him to see what he's done. And then he's teaching me like how to go about certain things and how he went through things and how I can learn from his mistakes kind of in that way. It's very inspirational and it really like, once I kind of like look at that and like help that plan my future out basically.
Okay. Zachary, who will be heading out west? Who are some of your leaders that you either take notice, emulate, embody?
So probably my dad and my brother, just because they've always been that male, model in front of me. My dad has been self-employed. He owns his own business. He has people working under him, and I just see a lot that I want to become from him. My brother, he wanted to become a pilot. Took him a little while, but he continued constantly chasing that dream, and he's there, and he's got everything he needs now. So a lot of perseverance, a lot of leadership skills, determination, stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm paying attention on them for.
Okay. That's good. That's definitely good. And so, and I guess that goes back to the whole fake it till you make it. I mean, if we're really talking about trying to emulate somebody else, and you might not be at that level. What are the best quick wins based on the 5 pillars of EQ, which are self-awareness, self-management, motivation, empathy, and social skills that I can immediately begin to assimilate into my thoughts, words, and actions? And so, like I said earlier, words definitely have meanings. And so, yeah, it's definitely important. A common challenge for anyone becoming an emotionally intelligent leader is overcoming the perception that people will take advantage when you lead with empathy. And I just talked about that. Putting people first means people will march all over you. Being an emotionally intelligent leader is far from a sign of weakness. Rather, it's a strength that unites the organization. Another common challenge facing emotional intelligent leaders is revealing more of themselves personally to the people they lead. That's what I was just talking about when I said about giving you guys justification about everything. As your employees see more of the authentic you, it will help strip away fear and let you connect with confidence. And then last, the benefits of role changing or role change bring the opportunity to learn about different aspects of the organization, leading to promotional opportunities as far as departmental functions, organizational leadership roles, core functions, key relationships, because individuals in the organization have no problem with promoting you and moving you around. And then become the expert in one area, but diversify your portfolio by growing your knowledge in multiple business functions.